Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, Excuse me. I had the TV on in the other room and it's very loud. um, I just had my morning bath. I usually go to sleep. You know, um, when sleep just overtake me, I just let it have its way. And so I know that I'll wake up about 2 or 3, and I'll get up and I have energy to do whatever it is I need to do. But I thank God today. I was able to celebrate my aunt's birthday, because the enemy fights you on stuff like that. You know what I mean? He'll have you holding grudges against people, misunderstanding folk, blocking people, and it may be people that you very well may need. I'm just talking about me. So I was talking to my son. A lot of time I might say things trying to be comedic or whatever, but it's meaning behind it. Even when people, say they telling a joke or they don't mean it, it's something to it, right? So something that happened before the pandemic or right after the pandemic, it's probably right after the pandemic. And I was kind of angry with the person, but they didn't know I was angry with them. So they were just going on their merry way. But in my mind, I had already said, I'm not going to deal with them. I just don't do them. And but I was talking to my son about it, and he said, "Well, how do you think God feel about you holding this grudge against this person? They don't even know you mad with them. And you, in the age you are, you don't need to be holding things like that." And I knew he was telling the truth. A lot of times, we have people that we talk to, and we can explain to them how we feel, and they'll just co-sign and say, "Well, yeah, you got it right." But then this particular son, he is not my advocate. And you need somebody to be, you know, critical of you sometimes. You don't need anybody to go along with you on everything. So, but anyway, because he made me see myself in a different light, because like I can be walking around, like I say, mad with somebody and don't even know why well, I remember why I'm mad with him. Don't tell that lie. But but they don't be knowing that I'm upset with them. You know what I'm saying? And anyway, but I know that's one of the things God want to cleanse me from, because God is not like that. He don't sit and hold grudges. When He casts something away, He casts it away. If He put in the sea of forgiveness, it's in the sea of forgiveness. He don't just be dwelling on it and rehearsing it. So anyway, I wasn't gonna go to this event, and I said, well, whatever I do, I'm just gonna do it. You know, individually. But it didn't work out like that. I was gonna go uh, wish my aunt a birthday, happy birthday on the day of her birthday, but I couldn't get down there. So it was actually meant for me to go to the gathering that I said I was going to. First of all, I got the time mixed up. I thought the time was 4 to 6. Look back at the message. It was supposed to be 2 to 4. And I said, my goodness, 2 to 4:30. Well, I said I still would have been messed up. So, but anyway, I went and I enjoyed myself. And I'm saying, sometime when you make up your mind you're gonna do or you're not going to do, sometimes God have to intervene. Because people misunderstand me like I misunderstand them. I be having my reason and my rationale why I don't do certain things and whatever like that. So, but anyway, it was okay. I mean, it was okay because the Lord even made a way of escape, before it would get any, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I came and I made my appearance, and that was what I needed to do. I talked to some people, and I saw those people through the eyes of people who love them. A lot of time we inherit enemies. Like our mama may not like certain people, and so she'll sit and she'll talk about that person. And you be looking at that person just like they're a tree. Say, okay, yeah, I can't deal with them because my mama said. and whatever. But sometimes you have to get to know people for themselves. And so I don't know what happened. I don't know if they changed or if I changed. But all of a sudden I said, well, you know, I'm just gonna be friendly. I'm just gonna speak. I know we don't have a relationship or whatever like that, but oh God, I'm just gonna speak to him and whatever, and show him love or whatever. And with that mindset, I really enjoyed myself. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't acting holier than thou because I thought about, Jesus went to weddings too. Jesus went to parties too. He didn't partake of, what I'm saying, but he one of his first miracles was turning water into wine at a wedding. So you can't be saved and be so holy that you just block everybody out, because it's people that have need of you and you have need of them as well. We actually need each other. We all going through stuff. Some things, God is not pleased with. I'm not going to say that he pleased with, but you got to show love because you got to be a light. When people are in darkness, they are in darkness because the enemy have blinded them. And they don't know, how much God loves them. They don't really know. I was watching this movie, Malcolm X, and I had read about how he was so enamored of Prophet uh, Elijah Muhammad. And he just put that man on a pedestal. He just, oh my goodness, every time he got up and speak, I just honor the Prophet Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He was just really giving him his props. And so then, people got jealous, because he was such an eloquent speaker. And then he was young. And by him being young, he just had that magnetism. He was misled, but he really was sincere. And he had found something, he found Islam, I think, when he was incarcerated. So, he was really going all the way in it. And then he found out that Muhammad, had fathered some children, I guess, illegitimately and whatever like that. And so that's when he became a real Muslim. He said, well, he always called white people devils and stuff like that. But then when he went to Mecca himself and he began to pray with um, Muslims or Muslims who were white, he had to, just throw all that out. And I just wish he had come to know Jesus, you know what I'm saying, as the Son of God, because he really, I tell you, Denzel Washington played that role and he played it well. He really did. So anyway, sometimes you just have to investigate things for yourself because you end up making gods out of people. And then when you find out that they got chinks in their armor, well, you don't know what to do with yourself. He was very angry. He was very frustrated because his wife was saying, everything is for the nation. We don't own anything. We don't own a house. We don't own a car. Everything belongs to the nation and stuff. So anyway, he was disillusioned when he found out that this man had fathered illegitimate children because he had put this man on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? And he was loyal to a fault. He was very loyal. I'm like that too. I'm the type person. If I like you, I like you behind your back. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Some people they really, they're influenced by other people. They don't want them. They don't want people to be mad with them, and they know they don't have an occasion to be angry with you. But because other people are angry with you, they just they're not loyal. So, but that's not me. I'm the type person. If I like you, I like you, and I stand ten toes down with you. I'm also the type person. If I'm done with you, I'm done with you. And ain't got nothing there for you to do, But I'm trying to get out of that, because that's not God like. God, he said, if you love only those who love you, what reward have you? So, I know, it's some, like I say, sometimes you inherit enemies. People be mad with your mama. Yeah, they think you just like your mama or whatever like that. But you're going to have some of your mama ways. You come through her birth canal. Yeah, you're going to have some ancestral spirits pulling at you, but you got to bind that devil. You got to bind that devil. You can't You can't be mad with folk. You got to say, well, it was a misunderstanding. I have changed. You have changed. You got to give people a chance. Don't just be walking around talking about we don't deal with them folk. 'cause, this and that. So, but anyway, the Lord is working on me, and I'm glad that He is. I'm glad that He is. And I wish, the body of Christ would get on the same page because everybody, they be wanting to say they of Paul, they of uh, apostle, they of pastor, they this, they that. We all supposed to be working for the same God. You know what I'm saying? And He has His reward in His hand. So we shouldn't get mad with somebody when they say, well, I'm fellowshipping with this church today. And, because sometimes God mean for you to get a word at that church. He mean for you to get a praise at that church. So it shouldn't be, this selfishness. Like, oh, well, I ain't good enough. It's not that. It's just that we're all members of the body of Christ. God might have a word for you in Shiloh. What you gonna do? You gonna be sitting in Manchester? I can't go to Shiloh, cause my pastors don't like folk in Shiloh. My pastors don't know the people in Shiloh. No, what you need, and God have other sheep, there's not of this fold. And somebody got to be willing to go out there and get them, and you can't win a sheep being stuck up. So anyway, like I say, I'm learning. I'm doing new things, because they say insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something new. So sometimes you want something new, you gotta walk in the newness of life. You gotta let God, free you and stuff. You gotta let God free you. So that's just about basically all I have to say. I'm tired. Like I said, I am really I'm not tired. I was tired the reason I went to sleep. I went to sleep. Oh my God, I was so drunk with sleep. I was actually sleepwalking at Walmart. I mean, I really was. I was just too sleepy. And my brother dropped me off, and I gotta find a bed somewhere. And I found the bed, and I got up and I said, "Oh, it is." I think it was what, 2 something, 3 something. Let's see what time it is. It's 3:49. I'm on 4 o'clock. I be getting before anyway. So anyway, so I'm up. Hello. There is this song. It did come on a children's show, but I be in my spirit. I just be singing it. Good morning, good morning. Today is gonna be a good day. Good morning, good morning. Nothing's gonna stand in my way. Nothing, nothing. I like that song. Anyway, let me go ahead and do daily devotion. Honey, I just get all off. Okay. Okay, it's been 3 days. I was supposed to do June 6th, and I didn't. And I missed it. And the date is June 9th. And so that's where we're going to start. And it's Matthew, the 19th chapter, the 13th to the 15th verses. Margaret and her younger sister Wanda looked curiously at Dad as he cleared his throat. We have a surprise for you, Dad told them mysteriously. Margaret hoped this meant a new big screen TV, while Wanda envisioned a trip to Disneyland. Mom clasped Dad's hand. I'm going to have a baby, she said, smiling. Really? Wanda jumped up and down excitedly. Yippee! You got to be kidding, said Margaret. We thought you'd be happy, said Mom. You enjoy other people's babies. That's different, insisted Margaret. They're not around all the time getting into my stuff, and I'll probably have to change his diapers and babysit all the time. Everything will be different with the baby around. That's true, said Mom, but I'm sure we all have plenty of love to share. Princess, one of the family's 2 cats, crawled on Margaret's lap. Rodney, the older cat, lay napping nearby, curled into a ball. Looking at his daughter and the kitten, Dad had a thought. Do you remember when Princess became our pet? He asked. And do you remember how Rodney responded when we brought Princess into the house? Well, sure, said Margaret slowly. Rodney didn't like it much at first because she invaded his territory. but before long they became good friends. Margaret began to understand her father's meaning. So you think I'll like having a new brother or sister once she comes? She asked. Mom and Dad nodded. Then Dad added, we'll ask God to help us all to look forward with joy to that event. Okay, agreed Margaret. What will we name it? I hope it's a boy. She noticed her parents' smiles. I guess I'm more excited about the baby than I realized. Are there others you can love like a baby brother or sister, or maybe a new person at school? Jesus loved everyone. He even took time to hold and speak with little children. He knew that babies are a gift from God. But Jesus said, let the children come to me. Don't stop them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. Yeah, and that's just like, I was saying, we have to yield to the Lord. It may be things we're not used to doing. It may be people that we're not used to dealing with. But God, He wants us to be that light, so we have to yield, get out of God's way. Y'all have a blessed day. Love you. Good morning.